Mr. Rod, how much time do you spend in cashers?
It's tough to generalize it because sometimes more than others. We've been here a lot so far this summer. We get here as much as time allows us to get here. So we started coming here a little over a year ago, and we've been in and out for pockets of 2 and 3 weeks at a time, a couple times like that over the last year, and we just we love it here. My in-laws live in Charlotte, so they're up almost every weekend, which I'm jealous of. You know, so I had this grand plan of retiring and spending a lot of time up here, but then I started taking jobs again. So hopefully I can stick with a little bit of the plan though.
You have an idea of maybe how much percentage of time you in the future spend up here?
I don't know. I thought I had everything figured out a year ago when I stopped, and it changes. You know, when different opportunities come along. Plans change a little bit, and I'm starting some work in LA next month. I'd rather be here than LA, but the job is out there, so I'm not sure. I mean, if we're talking about the context of a lifetime, hopefully a lot. For the rest of this year, it'll be a big mess.
Jim, Tom Jackson from the Tampa Tribune. Is that the way it works? That you plan to retire, you think you've got it figured out, and then things change?
Yeah, preach.
Yeah. I have a little more experience than Andy, but he's figuring it out pretty quickly, as you can hear. You know, retiring is probably not the right word to use for what we do, because both of us had a long run as professional tennis players on the ATP Tour, and then you stop at the age of 30 and you have basically your whole life in front of you. Most people just start figuring out what they want to do with the rest of their lives at 30 years old, and they have that opportunity from a little bit of a different lens. So, for Andy, he's got a great opportunity in Los Angeles that he's going to take advantage of, and we'll see how much he likes it and where that goes for him. For me, I've stayed within tennis, which has been exciting for me in various capacities, whether it's being able to sit on the bench next to him in Davis Cup or be involved in Champions Tennis, get to do charity events like this, which I love, and get to travel and see new places, do some TV work at the majors. The opportunities are there if you're open to them, and if you're lucky. We both qualify as being open to them, obviously, and certainly lucky.
He's basically the most interesting tennis man in the world.
Gary Woodward, Smoking Mountain News.
Hey.
You two are two of the most prominent American players of the last 20 years, and in recent years, the American, at least on the men's side, has kind of fallen off the map. What's the future for American men's tennis?
Well, I would color it with this lens. We've been incredibly lucky over the years of open professional tennis to have great players in the men's game that represent the United States, but there's no sense of entitlement, nor should there be, for a player that is born and raised in America to win anything. So there's a little bit of a disconnect from the public perception that we're owed champions, because it's not that way. The tennis ball only knows where it goes; it doesn't know who hits it. So I think we have to recognize that we've been lucky to have players like Andy and Andre Agassi and John McEnroe and all these great champions who've led the charge. And we have to keep working and keep fighting. We have very good players right now. We should respect and admire what they're doing, but also understand that the game has gone global. There are a lot of great players around the world. Tennis is a more important sport in most countries outside the U.S. And so you'll see in America we have to fight effectively to get the best athletes to participate in tennis, because they're playing other sports as well. It's not always the case in other sports, and I think that the guys that are out there playing right now are due a lot of respect, because they're out there grinding and pushing it and doing the best they can.
Do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Jim said. I mean, I think in order to use big terms like falling off and the face of the map and things of that sort, you need to realize that everyone's talking about Murray now. That was 77 years coming. France was Noah in '83. We've been used to a long time winning 2 majors a year for every year with you know, in Jim's generation, he won 4 Grand Slams, and you know was probably the 3rd best player out of that generation, which is just absurd. You know, so I think as U.S. tennis fans, and I grew up watching his generation. You know, they asked me who my favorite player was, and I got to pick and choose who was in the finals of a Grand Slam that week.
Yeah.
You know, so we were spoiled, and I think we are still a little bit spoiled as U.S. tennis fans. But you got to fight for it. You know, and in the landscape of American sports, we like things we're really good at. So we pick, you know, sports like football where only Americans play, and then we marvel at our success rate. You know, we're kind of it's a turf war on a global scale.
Are there any players you're seeing coming out?
Jim would know better. You know, he's our captain. I know the guys that are currently out there. You know, I've been removed from the game for a little bit, so I'll probably keep that one.
I
left.
prefer actually not to tell you who. We do have some good junior players that I like a lot, but I don't think there's a lot of value in naming names and adding any pressure that they may feel.
Well, I guess what does it mean?
I can tell you that when you're 17 and everyone just says your name, and then all of a
It's
sudden
not really great.
you're somewhere. And, you know, you're 17 and having to deal with, oh, so you're the next guy, no problem, no pressure, have fun and you know,
I guess
biology.
what's like to be the mentor on the mentor side now, for both of you?
Well, I really enjoy it. I like working with the players, and I get to work within the Davis Cup team and get involved with our up and coming American pros. You know, I sort of fashion myself or present myself to them as an open door, and if they would like to, you know, come through and call and ask questions about, you know, I'm confused about my taxes or my agent or my schedule, or it's everything. You know, there's nothing that these players are going to go through that Andy hasn't gone through, that I haven't gone through, and it's a wealth of experience that they're welcome, and the phone lines are open. But you know, again, it has to come from them. I don't feel like it's. I can't speak for Andy, but I don't feel like it's my position to impose myself on anyone. But I certainly am available and like to be, and I've enjoyed that from a Davis Cup standpoint, helping some of our guys when they need it.
If we can back up just a moment, when you were 11 or 12, you made that same decision about I could go baseball, I could go tennis. Are you saying, has the country changed so much that if you were 11 again, you might stay with baseball instead of go to tennis?
I can't speak to what a current 11
But
or
I mean,
12-year-old says.
are-
I think tennis is still something that if you like it when you're 11 or 12, wasn't that I liked tennis because of where it sat in the pantheon of American sports. I liked tennis because I was good at it and I enjoyed it, and it was something I could play all year round. Couldn't say that for baseball, that I couldn't play year round. I guess you can these days, but you know, I can't put myself in 2013 11-year-old body and mindset and understand, because we didn't have cable TV, we didn't have games, you know, it's a little bit of a different time.
Wait a minute, newsflash, the Couriers didn't have cable.
We didn't have cable. We got him when I was 13. I remember the day very well. It's a milestone. I wanted my MTV.
Andy, can you talk about what initially brought you to Cashiers, and if you have any like favorite hangouts or restaurants that you go to?
Gosh, I'm almost I love this area, but it's tough. You walk a fine line of throwing everything out there. We love coming here because it's a place we can relax and kind of pump the brakes for a little bit in our life. So there are many places I love to go, none of which I want to put on record.
Can you talk a little bit about this event and just kind of your goals for it, and if you see it doing it again next year and on down the road?
Well, we hope so. You know, if you're in any kind of scape, in order to do something a couple of times, you have to do it well at least once. It's been a great turnout so far. Mr. McKee and I got together. You know, it was a casual conversation on a golf course where he was asking about my foundation and how to, you know, kind of kickstart something here and really get something going. And I gave him my thoughts, which may or may not have been helpful. But I also said, you know, if you need me to do anything, let me know. And he said, well, would you ever play something around here? I said, sure. He goes, well, who would you play? And I said, I have an idea. You know, Jim's been generous with his time since the word go. Whether it's my foundation, it's always it's literally as simple as a text message with a date, and you know, do you think you could help us out? And a please and thank you, and we'll get you. We'll try to get you some good golf also. And so he responded. It was a 30-second text conversation, and this thing came to life, and hopefully it'll work out. And then we renegotiate and see if we can do it again.
What's it like to see you come to fruition?
So, excuse me.
What's it like to see all this come to fruition?
Well, it's great, and also, you know, we had a dinner last night, and you know, I said I don't want to seem like I made myself available. We're here with our time. We started a lot of our work yesterday and today, and there have been a lot of people who have been putting this together for months and months and months. With Mr. McKee and Marcia from Mountain Youth Charities, and they've really put in the hard yards. And for me, it's amazing to see what their hard work and effort has brought around, and I think we're just excited to show up and do our small part.
Jim, is this your first visit to the area?
This is.
What do you think about it?
It's beautiful so far. I came in yesterday, went to the dinner last night, which was fantastic, and looking forward to taking a little bit of a look around after we play our match today. Going to be here for a few more days, so I'm excited to check out the neighborhood.
How many times have you guys played before?
We're trying to
We were trying to figure it out last night.
No more than a handful.
Couple.
You know, all never played on tour. I was stopping right when Andy was starting.
What's the win-loss record?
I don't think I'm on the board yet.
We played Gully's event one time too.
Did we play Gully's event?
Yeah, we did. I'm not. I don't know. He's always very, very gracious when we play.
If by gracious you mean less good. Yes. Yeah. That's not how I define grace.
Andy, you mentioned you're going to be moving out to LA for a new job. I guess maybe a second career working with Fox Sports Live. What are your thoughts on getting ready for that?
I'm excited. You know, it's the biggest network launch in sports history, and you know we're trying to go very big with it in no uncertain terms. So Fox Sports Live is you know, it's our nightly show, and you can't choose timing and opportunity. I didn't think a year ago that I would be taking something full time and very intense that quickly after retiring, but I think it had to be the perfect scenario, and I had a good relationship with Fox. I had done a radio show with them, and it's just it's fun to be a part of something new, kind of something with a little momentum behind it. And you know, in the sports landscape, you know, we're an underdog right now, and that part of it excited me and excites me. So we've kind of gone through the process of rehearsal shows and all this, and I'm certainly learning on the job. But it'll be fun. You know, I'm excited about it.
Andy, will you be covering the U.S. Open, you know, within your new radio job? Would that be sort of strange for you to be commenting on, because you know where you retired, to sort of be commenting on that again when it rolls around?
No, well, this is it's a nightly TV deal, but no, I don't think so. You know, I think with Fox Sports Live, it's myself. We just announced this week Gary Payton and Donovan McNabb, along with Ephraim Salam and our host Carissa Thompson. But I don't think so. I know one thing I won't do when talking about tennis is, and Jim does a phenomenal job of it when he commentates. He's never the guy who gets better every year that he's retired. You know, he's never the guy that looks back and pretends like it was easy. And I think in tennis we have to do a better job of representing how tough the sport actually is. You know, one of my biggest pet peeves is listening to broadcasts and everybody outside of the top four sucks. You know,
Right.
You know, to give it a little bit of context, you know, they'll be talking about a guy 20 in the world and not being very respectful, but then, you know, if someone says they're a Major League Baseball All-Star, it has some clout to it. Yeah, there were 84 Major League Baseball All-Stars 2 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
So to give it a little, and pulling from a global landscape. So I think I'll try to tell that story a little bit more.
Okay.
You guys talk a little bit about the kids camp this morning, just how special things like that are.
I got so much confidence from that kids camp this morning. I really struggled returning my serve. Really gave me a boost going into today's match. But there's a lot of energy out there. There had to be 50 kids on the courts out there, which was great to see, and they were all smiling and energized by it. And it's the kind of thing where, you know, they see someone like Andy on the court that they've watched on TV, surely. You kind of wonder who I am, because maybe, oh yeah, he was in that video game I had 1 year. But you can just see they're really enthusiastic and hopefully it'll inspire them to pick up the racket a little bit more frequently and enjoy the sport. You know, it's one of the great things about tennis. It is truly a sport of a lifetime. You know, you start at this age and get some sort of a skill set, you can be 85 years old and playing with your grandkids. So that's what's nice about it. And this is such a great environment to be outside and enjoy. So I thought it was really fun to be there.
Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it, and you know, they were asking about Jim, and I said, you know, he won the French Open a lot in the early '90s. They go, wow, the early '90s.
I know. What was it like back then?
Did you guys like cassette tapes?
No cell phones.
But it was a good time. You know, I think it's important to if you have an event like this to kind of reach out and include and you know, give these kids some exposure to our sport and in a fun way. So doing something like that with an event like this is a no-brainer.
Great. Any more questions? Anybody?
I would love to talk to you about the Pasco National Tennis Stadium that never got built, but I'm sure these folks are not
Well, we can do
particularly.
that. We can do that offline.
Could I
You
just
probably
say
know more about it
one
than I do.
I have watched you all play for so many years and shouted for you through so many matches, and it is an absolute thrill to have you here.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, well, we get to do it again today.
For the,
Yes,
for the people-
exactly.
For the tardy people, what's the charity that's affiliated with the event?
Mountain Youth Charities. So it's given to a couple of the schools in the area and various youth programs all around Cashers and Sapphire Valley. Justin Gimmelstop, thank you for asking.
And why is that important to you guys?
Well, Andy lives here, so he should probably speak more to it. But having been at the gala last night, seeing a couple of the schools that came up and received some checks, seeing that they're going to be impacted by something like this, and knowing that that's going to grow, there'll be more tentacles like that. These programs that need help and need assistance, and also need to have a light shined on them a little bit, so people can recognize that they need help. You know, this is a community, from what I understand, that like many summer communities, it grows in population, and the population dissipates in the school years. But there's still people that live here and that need help, and that's what we're here to do.
I also think it's important, and tennis has been great as far as role models, as far as giving back. I mean, from Billie Jean Arthur-Ashe to, you know, Andre to Justin Gimmelstop to, you know, to us up here. But I also think it's, if you enjoy the spoils of some place where you enjoy spending time, I think it's important to pay it forward. And, you know, judging by the people that were there last night and the people that are coming out today, this area gets it. And, you know, if we can kind of provide that avenue to get a bunch of people together and kind of have a joint effort, it's a no-brainer, and it's something I know I'm thrilled to do, and thankful that, you know, Jim came and helped with the cause as well. You know, it's just something that I think you probably should do.
And I might introduce Dr. Jack Talmadge from Summit Charter School, who was one of the very first recipients of proceeds from Mountain Youth Charities, and we able to speak with him.
Extremely grateful.
Thanks, fellas.
Thank you all.
Thank you.